Okay, let's just jump right in. Today, we're taking a close look at a very specific choice for students at the University of Wisconsin-Madison, the Sigma Phi fraternity. But we're not going to talk about stereotypes. Instead, we're going to treat this like a product, an experience you can choose. Think of this as your official buyer's guide.
I mean, if you're even thinking about Greek life, you know it's a pretty big deal. It's not just about where you're going to party for the next few years, right? It's about the people you'll surround yourself with, the values you'll adopt, and the network you're investing your time and money into. So how do you make sure you're making the right call? And this quote from our source material, man, it just nails it. It gets right to the heart of what makes this chapter tick. Forget maximum party throughput, just cranking out as many ragers as possible. This suggests Sigma Phi is selling something else entirely. So let's break down what that something else really is. So, where do we even start? Well, you have to start with the foundation, and I mean that, literally. To really get the culture of Sigma Phi, you have to understand its history, and, maybe more importantly, its iconic home. Look, this is not some pop-up chapter that just arrived on campus. We're talking since 1908. And they didn't just move into any old building. Almost right away, they set up shop in a house designed by Louis H. Sullivan. Only the guy who mentored Frank Lloyd Wright? That alone tells you they've been committed to legacy from day one. And make no mistake, the house itself is a total statement piece. It's a National Historic Landmark. We're talking 5 fireplaces, 2 libraries. This is so far from your typical frat house. The building itself is a huge signal about the culture here. It values something more than just a place to crash. The house frames the entire experience.
Okay, so the house is amazing, no doubt about it. But what's it actually like to live there day to day? What's the real culture like? Let's get into the vibe and the social scene.
Now this is where it gets really interesting, because it's all about a trade-off. The culture here is, well, it's curated. You're getting these really well-hosted formals. You're getting awesome game day weekends. What you're not getting is what the source calls a foam cannon factory. The upside, a reputation for being low drama and a lot safer. The potential downside, you're probably going to miss out on those chaotic movie-style blowouts. It's a choice.
So, with that cultural vibe in mind, we can get a little more analytical. The source material actually goes ahead and assigns scores to different parts of the experience, which gives us this fascinating kind of data-driven look at the whole thing.
So let's dig in and see what these numbers are really telling us.
First up, stereotypical frat lifestyle scores a 60 out of 100. Now hold on, don't look at that like a D- on a test. That's not what it means at all. It means they totally deliver on the core stuff, like formals and game days, but they intentionally skip the high-volume chaos. It's all about quality over quantity.
Next, chance of hooking up gets a 56. And the key insight here is that the fraternity amplifies guys who already have their act together. The letters on your shirt will open doors, for sure, but having a respectful vibe and a clean presentation, that's what really seals the deal here.
Okay, this next metric is unique. So it's really important that we're crystal clear on what it means. The source uses the term homoerotic level, but let me be clear, this is not about measuring sexual activity. It's used as a clinical metric for brotherly intimacy, physical comfort, and just general closeness within the chapter.
And here's how to think about the scale. A level 1 is basically like having business casual roommates. You live together, but there's no real bonding. Level 10? Well, that would be actual physical relationships. The middle ground, that level 5, that's where you see things like guys walking around in towels after a shower, not thinking twice about it. It's a sign of normalized comfort and trust.
And where does Sigma Phi land? A solid 5 out of 10. And that just fits their whole low drama vibe perfectly, doesn't it? It signals a healthy, adult level of comfort. Think tall talk in the hall or fixing a brother's tie. It's about supportive closeness, or as the slide says, adult comfort, not performance.
Of course, a huge part of this whole investment is what happens after you graduate. So let's talk about the long-term value, the alumni network.
The alumni network scores a pretty solid 68. And this isn't just some giant email list. We're talking a high-quality, high-powered network, especially if you're going into fields like law or finance. But here's the catch. It's not automatic. You have to be proactive to get the value. The doors are open, but you got to be the one to walk through them.
All right, let's pull all these different threads together. Time to land the plane and get to the final verdict on what it means to be a part of Sigma Phi at UW-Madison.
The final overall score comes in at a 64 out of 100. But as we've seen this whole time, that number is really just a summary of some very specific trade-offs.
So let's do a quick recap of the pros and cons that get us to that number.
So, summing up the good stuff, you get a recognized heritage chapter. You get to live in a literal national historic landmark. You get a low-drama, high-standards culture that's going to play really well after college. And you get real alumni traction if you're prepared to put in the work.
And on the flip side, this is not the place to be if you want the highest party volume. That selectivity can sometimes feel a little closed off, and it absolutely requires personal discipline. The house, as the source puts it, is not going to reward chaos.
So it really all comes down to this one question. It's a choice between two completely different products. Are you shopping for the party, for maximum social throughput, or are you shopping for the polish, for discretion and for continuity? There's no right answer here, but knowing what you're actually buying, well, that's everything.